Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Philippines Uncut. I am your host, Buddy Kunanan, and in this show we talk about everything in the sun. And tonight's show is once again about politics, and quite timely because in a few days, all of us are going to go to the polls for the local and congressional elections. And so tonight, in order to help all of you make a good decision on whom to vote and or whom not to vote for, we have decided to focus on one area in particular, Quezon City, right here in Metro Manila. And joining us on the show are two tireless advocates of making Quezon City a better place to live in. On my right is veteran Philippines Uncut guest Hans C. Palacios, who's a socio-civic leader and tireless advocate of the 4th District of Quezon City. Good evening, Hans.
Good evening, buddy.
And joining him for the first time on the show is Mr. Andy Rosales, and he is the vision keeper and presiding officer of USAP, short for Ugnayan ng mga Samahan para sa Alternatibong Pagbabago or Movement for Alternative Change.
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, Hans. Good evening to Andy. Welcome again to the show.
Thank you. Good
And we saw earlier a video of Quezon City. Seems like a nice place and a lot of development going on. But before we talk about Quezon City, let's talk about you first, you guys. Now, let's start with Hans. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, you know me as a natural health advocate.
Yep.
And I'm also a social civic leader, and I'm also a pro-lifer. And right now, I'm running for Congress for the 4th District of Quezon City.
Under what party?
Under PMP.
It's former President Estrada's party.
Yes.
Partido ng Masang Pilipinas.
Yes.
Okay, so how's the campaign going so far, Hans?
Well, I really haven't been campaigning. But the district knows me because I'm there. I'm a perennial candidate. Nobody wants to seem to go up against the warlord. We call him the warlord anyway.
Why, who is your rival for the congressional district, the 4th congressional district of Quezon City?
The speaker himself, Sonny Belmonte.
Former mayor.
Former mayor.
Of Quezon City.
Well, we still call him the mayor. We'll explain that in a while.
Interesting you should say that. Okay. Now, Andy, welcome sa Philippines Uncut. Ano po yung usap at ano po yung explain po yung role niyo as a vision keeper and presiding officer?
Yung usap po, ugnayan ng mga samahan para sa alternatibong pagbabago. Ito po ay mga samahan ng mga urban poor federations, Luzon-wide. Ang kaibahan po ng organisasyon na to ay pagsamasamahin yung mga existing programs and projects ng mga urban poor to complement each other and kumbaga umasa sa sariling kakayahan. Huwag mag-depend sa government. Pero of course, we also collaborate with the government but not too much depend on them. Dahil may problema rin yung gobyerno eh. So we build our resources from within and we collaborate, given yung mga resources na meron kami sa sarili namin. So, yung usap po ay in existence siguro mga 3 years na. At sa ngayon po ay meron din po kaming nag-initiate kami ng parang we call it sectoral primaries.
Okay.
Sabi kasi ng mga urban poor, bakit ba ganito? Ang dami-daming walang pera na siyang bumoboto. Bakit walang nananalo? Walang nakaupong walang pera at puro may pera.
O bakit nga?
Yun na nga eh. That's why nangyari. Why not select among ourselves? Why not pilot an area like Quezon City? Kasi maraming urban poor sa Quezon City. Siguro hindi alam to ng ating mga tagapakinig. No? Highest or the richest city in the Philippines, and yet majority, yan yung capital, urban poor capital in Asia, in Quezon City.
Wow.
Yun yung hindi nakakaalam, maraming hindi nakakaalam dyan.
Oo nga, yung pinaka-narinig natin parati is how rich Quezon City is, supposed to be the richest city in the country.
Correct. And yet, we are...
The highest number of urban poor is in Quezon City, in
the
the country.
urban poor capital.
Urban poor capital.
In Asia.
In Asia.
Not in the Philippines. Ha? So, that's why, ngayon nga, ang problema namin ay, I thought merong bawal mag-demolish kasi kaliwat kanan yung demolition ngayon sa Quezon City. May mga, sa area ng Santo Domingo, under appeal sa korte, pero dinimolish pa rin sila. Ang nagbibigay ng order niyan, si Ginoong Tadi Palma, yung secretary to the mayor. Kaliwat kanan talaga yung demolition sa Quezon City ngayon. Nakakalungkot.
Okay. Now, itong usap, gano'ng kalaki yung membership ninyo?
Yung sa federation, we have 101 federation scattered all over Luzon. Bukod po sa urban poor, we also have farmers and fisher folks organizations in Laguna, Bulacan, and Pampanga. They joined us because we share the same problems and concerns. Para bang yung kanilang produkto, imbis na dumiretso sana sa amin, ang dami pang dinadaanan. So we're thinking of a parang bayanihan sa hanap buhay na will provide the market in Quezon City and other cities in Luzon. We'll get it directly sa mga farmers. Mga ganun ang mga ilang pinagpaplanuhan ng grupo.
But how successful have you been in empowering the urban poor of Quezon City?
Right now, we're focusing now on the rights of the urban poor to be represented in various local special bodies like the Local Housing Board, where they are entitled or they're mandated to be part of crafting a comprehensive local shelter plan. But the problem is, among the urban poor sector, there are also professional organizations who are conspiring with the local officials. They misrepresent the urban poor. And that's our main problem, because we fight amongst ourselves because of the selfish interest of these leaders. We call it urban poor dealers. Pinagkakakita. Lalo na ngayong eleksyon, kaawa-awa yung mga leaders na yan. Yung mga urban poor leaders na yan ang ginagamit ng politiko to buy votes.
Well, now is a good time to, as I say, every 3 years comes along for local and congressional, every 6 years for president. Then this is an opportune time para yung mga tao ay pwedeng magpasya ang kanilang kasiyahan or kanilang unhappiness with the current leadership, both at local and in Congress. Now, let's talk about QC. Okay, Hans. As you saw, again, nice video, and sabi nga ni Andy, the thing we hear about QC all the time is it's the richest city in the Philippines, progression, a lot of progress, a lot of buildings coming up. What is the true situation in Quezon City? Is it as rosy as all of us seem to think it is?
No, not really, because we have urban poor problem, and with the money that Quezon City has, and a lot of it seems to be disappearing. In the last election, they were bragging about 6.5 billion surplus, and immediately when the next administration came in, when Herbert came in, it was gone. He was even telling us, I adopted some of your housing projects for the urban poor, but I have no money. I said, what happened to the 6.5 billion?
How much money, how much is the national budget, is the budget of Quezon City?
Right now, they approved 13 billion.
Okay. A year?
When Sunny Belmonte left, after Bistec approved 11.25, then 12, then 13. That's the budget. 2010, 11, 12, 13.
So slowly increasing, huh?
Yes.
From 11 to 13B.
Yes.
Now, how is this broken down? 13B, where does this go to exactly?
More than 50% of it goes to the elected officials.
What do you mean by it goes to the elected?
Pork barrels.
Pork barrel.
Well, the mayor has around 3 billion for his office, and the councilors are enjoying at least 40 million each.
That's 6 districts, 6 councilors.
See, this is what, pork barrel is such a dirty word nowadays. But people seem to think, common perception is, so pag sabing pork barrel, sa House lang, House of Representatives o kaya sa Senado.
It's the
Pero
same in
now you're
Quezon
saying
City.
is that the